Today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Vikings. Vikings is an older game that I played for the first time a few weeks ago, and it had a really interesting rondel mechanism that I wanted to discuss. I'm always fascinated in games when they choose a unique method of pricing things. I think adding variable pricing and variable order of operations can add a ton of replayability and variability to a game. And so I'm just always interested in different methods that people use. I have a visual here so I can accurately describe what Vikings does. So I'll hold this up while I talk. So Vikings has this rondel. You can see this piece in the middle turns, and it has pricing and coins, starting with 0 and moving all the way up to 11. There are a few things that happen here that I think are really interesting. First, each round you randomly set out tiles. This is like midway through a round. You set out tiles all the way around the edge. These are randomly set out. Then you also set out random meeples. You can see them on the outer edge. They're black meeples. I think those are blue meeples. You got red meeples over there, and then one green meeple at the bottom. Those are randomized as well. So what you're buying here when you make a purchase is you're buying a meeple and a tile. So that's the first interesting thing. I like it when things are paired together, like the Mama and Papa cards in viticulture. When you add a pair to something, you exponentially increase the number of combinations in the game rather than limiting it to just one thing. So I really like that. The other thing are the restrictions on the auction, which actually make this economic rondel more interesting. So the first restriction is you cannot buy the cheapest thing, the thing that's 0. You cannot take it for 0 unless it's the only meeple of that color. So probably earlier in this round there was another green meeple here and maybe even another green meeple there. And the reason this one's at 0 is that those players could not buy the cheapest one. They cannot get it for free because there were other green meeples on there. So this adds an interesting layer of decisions. Do you go for the really cheap things, but by doing so you make the cheapest one, the free token and tile, do you make it accessible to the next player over? Also, the second thing that happens is when someone actually buys that tile, you adjust the rondel. So the rondel will shift over here, and suddenly this tile will be free, but you won't be able to buy it. You'll only be able to buy this one until someone buys that one. Then you can buy the cheapest red one. So there's another interesting decision there that the rondel is changing throughout the round depending on what people are buying. The last layer of decision, and we can't see it here, but you can see that people have actually spent in this round. They've spent the most amount of coins. And the reason they've done that, this is really, really clever, is that there's a other section that you can't see this off to the side that has bonus tiles. And you can get those bonus tiles if at any time you purchase the most expensive tile out here. So at the beginning of the round, someone could have bought the 11 coin, the $11 tile, gotten that meeple, and gotten a bonus tile that they really wanted that could give them some points. But as soon as they buy it, suddenly the price of the cheapest tile has gone down. And as the very cheapest tile is bought, the price for all of the meeples and tiles go down. So it's this shifting economic system within each round of the game, depending on what you're buying. I love that there's a strong incentive to buy the most expensive tile. Usually there isn't. Usually it's, there is not as good of an incentive, but there's a great bonus tile waiting for you if you do that. I love the pairs. I love the shift of the rondel throughout the round. It's just a really, really interesting rondel system. If you have a game that uses an interesting economic system, maybe specifically with rondels, because there are a ton of economic games, mention a rondel game that you really enjoy and that you admire. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. Or if you have a favorite mechanism in Vikings that I didn't mention, I'd love to hear about that as well. Thanks.